I fully understand that this is a very bold policy. And within a short time, by the year 2026 and 27, we have to complete 30,000 units. Now, this policy is much needed by those people who are now living in very poor condition in subdivided units. The figure is actually quite stunning. There are over 110,000 units of subdivided flats in Hong Kong. That means over 200,000 people are living in such poor condition. I have visited these people living in what we call the SDUs. You can't imagine a family who has to squeeze into a very, very tight flats. There is almost no space for the children. The young children would move around, he may bump into a desk, hurt himself, and he is getting anxious and angry because he has no space to play around, and the mother gets very tense, and when they sleep at night, some plaster will fall onto their eyes. They can't open the windows because the air outside the windows are so bad. A retired old man, he is around 70 years old. He has been waiting for the public housing for like 6 to 7 years. And he has to live in, maybe just one bed with an open toilet next to the bed. And that's all he gets. He has to eat in such a space, no window at all, very hot during summertime. Do you want to see people like that in an advanced city like Hong Kong? We must do something to help them. Then some people would ask, why don't you increase the supply of traditional public housing? The problem is, in the current 5 years, what we can do to increase the public housing supply has been ongoing. All the sites earmarked for public housing are under construction. They are near completion. All the land we have in hand in this 5 years are already on the run. But what happened in the past is that whenever the government tried to turn certain piece of land into public housing site, we face very strong objection during the land resumption process, during the planning application process, and during the funding approval process in the Legislative Council. We all know about this very serious filibustering in the Council. And that affects the land supply in the current 5 years that I am facing. And these people, because of the previous delaying process of this land supply, they have been living in these subdivided units for a few years. So in the long run, in 10 years' time, the land supply in Hong Kong would be adequate for those who need the public housing. But that will come in the next 5 years. More sites will be under construction, more public housing will be completed in the next 5 years. In the current 5 years, the supply is still less because of the land problem that I have explained before. So we must have some short-term and very effective measures which can come quickly to help these people. And that's why we need the light public housing project to provide at least 30,000 units to allow 30,000 families or more to improve their living condition. I know this will be very challenging. I have been working in this development and construction project for many years. Every project, no matter big or small, when you implement the project, there will be many comments and, well, sometimes objections, and there is a long process to handle it. But I have to condense the time largely so that these projects can come into reality as soon as possible. If I use the same way of handling the project in the traditional way, the light public housing will come in the second 5 year instead of the first 5 year, and that make it meaningless. The second 5 year, I have a lot more public housing, the long-term public housing to come. So what's the point to have these light public housing in the second 5 year? So I must condense the process as much as possible so that this can be realized in the current 5 year. So my challenge is I have to do a lot of things in parallel. Take for an example, when I have to handle a public works project in the department, say a school, as simple as that. By the day I know I have to build a school, to the day I can apply funding from Legislative Council, it will take me like 3 years. This time, the Chief Executive announced the light public housing in October last year, and I go to LegCo for funding in February. It only takes me 3 months, 3.5 months, right? So the time frame is totally different. I have condensed something to happen in 3 years into 3 months. So I have to handle a lot of, you can say, pressure, because people are expecting you a longer discussion, more consultation, but what I have to overcome is a very condensed process. And I have to thank my project team greatly. It can't be possible without their full dedication and, full passion in such a meaningful task.